Welcome to the Barker Podcast Collection.
Welcome to the Not Watching Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and this week I'm joined by
Ian Bruce
and
Marcus Hurley.
So me and Marcus went to see The Predator, the new Predator movie written by and directed by Shane Black, and I think it was also written by one of the guys who wrote the original as well.
Really?
So
Okay.
yeah. So
I haven't seen it, but if you want to spoil away, I'm probably not going to see it.
Not going to spoil it.
Okay.
This basically, so the setup with this one is Boyd Holbrook, who you might remember from Narcos,
And Logan as well.
Yes, he was one of the bad guys in that. So he is a soldier who encounters the Predator when it crashes to Earth, and he basically makes off with some of its tech, sends it to his estranged wife and son to hide it, whilst getting psych evaluated by the army.
Right.
Yeah.
So he basically ends up in with a load of lunatics. Meanwhile, we've got Olivia Munn's character, who's like a bit obsessed with space. She's like a bit of a science bod, and she gets called up by Sterling K. Brown's character, and they have captured an actual live specimen, and she gets to go and have a look at it.
Okay.
So it's got a really bonkers cast.
Michael Keegan.
Thomas James.
Michael Keegan.
Yeah,
Michael?
he's good. I like him. He's good in it. Thomas Jane is playing a character with Tourette's.
Yeah.
Which should be funnier than it is, to be honest. Jacob Tremblay, who's been in lots of things, plays Boyd's son, who's autistic, and I know some people have taken exception with the way he's depicted. I don't know, it seemed fair enough to me, but he's like a boy genius. So yeah, obviously this is all first act stuff.
Yeah, but the
basically,
problem with autism is that there's a whole spectrum. So people taking offence, well, some people are just slightly socially awkward. Some people are massively socially awkward.
And you get high functioning.
Yes, there is a broad. You can't be. Oh, that's not an accurate depiction of autism. Really? That's why they call it a spectrum.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know. I just think some people have found it a bit clunky or just a bit.
It is about
strokes.
a space alien that shoots lasers from his shoulder.
Absolutely, yeah. Basically, yeah. So Jacob Tremblay's character, he obviously finds the box, gets involved with the gear, and like goes off dressed as the Predator for Halloween. Anyway, that's kind of getting into the second act, so I won't spoil anymore. But yeah, I watched this and I actually had quite a good time. I do like the whole aesthetic of the Predator. It was plenty gruesome at the time. I think I must have missed the fact that it was a 15, because I was just like, holy fuck balls!
I did see you were quite shocked.
Yeah,
The first major violent act happened. You were like, "Fuck!"
Yeah, I mean, like, there's no doubt about it. You know, they are like, there's lots of dismemberment all over the place right from the beginning, and yeah, I feel like Shane Black's definitely gone for a kind of throwback sort of feel. The soundtrack to the original movie is front and centre, isn't it? And I remarked to you, didn't I, Marcus? I was like, oh, they really are going for like an old school vibe here. But I've sort of read or listened to on podcasts since that they had some real bad problems with the film, like when it got to the editing room, and what we've seen is a shadow of what they were trying to do.
Oh, really?
They cut it, wasn't it?
That explains a lot, because it felt like they went for a roller coaster ride, and I really enjoyed the film, but I felt, from what I initially heard, what they wanted it to be, like they wanted it to be really like a spiritual successor to the first film. It felt a bit like that at the start, and the way that the feeling was, but it felt like all of the cheesier lines and stuff were in there, and it kind of felt just, don't want to say AVP level, AVP 1 maybe, that kind of enjoyable throwaway.
Still better than both of those, if you ask me.
Yeah, definitely. But it still felt a bit more like a roller coaster ride than a holy shit. This is the thing.
There's a character death in it that I totally missed, and I'm not the only one. I won't say who, but it's done so quickly that it's, unless you're really paying attention, you don't even see it happen. And then you know, he just doesn't turn up for the rest of the film, and you're like, oh, where did he go? So it's like it's a bit odd. I think the kind of gimmick is that it's like just a total sort of throwback, and it's like Predator in your basement, sort of, because it's like an urban setting, like so.
Yeah.
You're he's like in the suburbs, which is kind of odd, but it gives it kind of a bit of a like Goonies sort of ET sort of vibe to it, which I quite appreciated. And there are plenty of laughs and plenty of gross moments, and the ending, the epilogue at the end, apparently is as odd as it is, and I won't say what it is and what happens, but originally Arnie was supposed to turn up in this.
Okay.
And he turned it down because the role wasn't big enough. But the idea was that he was going to show up at the end and, as Dutch, and go like, "I need you for this mission."
Okay.
You know, going to take the fight to them or something.
Yeah.
And that's what they were going for.
Okay.
They really wanted to kind of tick all the boxes like to the original. And I think it's still probably better than that Predators, the last one, which I think was a bit cack as well.
It's a good idea though. It was just, it wasn't. I didn't think it was very well done.
It was just a bit of a rehash, I think, but with more Predators. Like, and it I don't know. It was kind of an interesting cast, wasn't it? Adrian Brody, I think.
Oh, it had Goggins.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had a weird cast.
Yeah,
it was good. It was okay.
I mean, I just feel like if Shane Black can't get this right, or has failed at doing this, I think who is left to try?
I think
make
the problem is we've seen so much of the Predator.
Yeah,
and the only thing now is to try and change it, but then it feels weird because you don't want it to go the route that they've done with Alien, because we've seen it so much. We know it's got acid blood, the extended tendril claws, the tail. We've seen pretty much most of the things the aliens got to offer. So now they're just messing with the lore and everything else. And you kind of don't really want the Predator to fall down that rabbit hole. Because
there were moments in it where like they actually translate what the Predator is saying.
Yeah.
Like to try and obviously deliver plot.
Didn't they do that in AVP as well?
Oh, they might have.
This is what it reminded me of.
But
I quite enjoyed the first AVP though. I thought the concept of it was quite fun.
Yeah, the time with the other ones,
what it led on to was shit. But yeah.
All right, well that's the Predator. I wouldn't rush to see it at the cinema, but if it turns up on Netflix, probably worth a look.
All right,
just for
I will save it.
Speaking of
times,
another film I saw which I wouldn't rush to go and watch was on Google Play. Pacific Rim Uprising.
Oh right,
I didn't watch it in the cinema because I didn't want to. Yeah, I would say a bit more kind of. It's like John Boyega doing a weird streetwise kid going in doing this, but then suddenly becoming military guy, but also a little bit wisecracking. It reminded me of like a New York kid in King Arthur's court. That sort of feeling to the movie.
Jesus, right.
It felt a bit like, this is obviously silly. We watched it whilst having dinner, and we didn't feel as though we missed anything.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as I found out that Guillermo del Toro was not directing it, I was arm's length with it, because I feel like it takes an incredibly skilled director to walk that line.
Yeah.
For me, I love the first Pacific Rim.
I thought the first one was a lot of fun.
It had a similar vibe to me to Starship Troopers, where, it was done in a way that was
ridiculous and farcical,
it was aware of what it was, and had enough cool world building going on to keep me interested and to make it even really enjoyable. I think those two films, Starship Troopers and Pacific Rim, are definitely of the piece.
This felt like a straight to DVD sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost like Starship Troopers 2 or something like that, you know.
Cloverfield paradox.
I don't know, because at least that tried to be clever. This, literally, you kind of think, oh, the kaijus are gone, the rift is closed. Why are there Jaegers still walking around? And you quickly realise they've still got them walking around, they're still training people, and then suddenly it all goes a bit crazy, and I don't give a shit about spoiling the plot. Guys, don't bother watching it. If you even remember the first film, they basically drift with one of the minds of the kaiju. They link up to it in order to discover its plans and find out where the rift is to close it and kill it. He's now the bad guy because he's still part hive mind linked. And I'm just thinking that feels like such a cop out. They took a kind of crazy character, and I was just like, is this where this is going? When you find that out, you're like, oh, so this is where it's going. I'd rather just have mindless monsters find a way to reopen a rift and they punch them in the face with giant robots. Just give me that. That's all I want. John Boyega, like, you know, doing a Will Smith, Welcome to Earth, smack. That's all I wanted. And they fucked that up. Yeah. So, yeah, it's not worth it. I don't know. I'd give it 2 out of 5 stars.
Okay. Won't be watching that then. Ian, you've been watching some stuff on Amazon, right?
I have.
Occupants or something?
Yes. So, I don't really remember how I found this. I think there's a YouTuber that I followed or a Twitch streamer, and I ended up with this Twitch streamer and YouTuber called Brianna White, who's doing walkthroughs of God of War, and she does some Spidey stuff. And it's not shouty, it's just kind of relaxed and friendly. And she's an actor or actress, depending on. And she was in a movie just a couple of years ago, I think, really, called Occupants, which is basically a double header, and it's like a good length episode of Twilight Zone or The Outer Limits.
Okay.
I don't really know how to describe it without spoiling it, but I will give it a go. A couple are doing some kind of home research for a tech company, and they've got cameras set up in a number of rooms in their house. I think it's only 2 rooms, the lounge and the kitchen maybe, and they're the sets for the entire movie.
Right, wow.
However, and this is the bit I can't really say, stuff happens. It's a difficult one to pitch. It's a difficult one. It reminds me of Cube's. It's not Cube, but kind of like Primer or that kind of thing where it's just a bit. Oh, what? And it's great performances from them. That's why I really liked it actually. And it's on Amazon Prime, so you can watch it for your Prime subscription money only. And if you kind of like, it was a couple of years ago. I don't know where it was released really, but it's okay. Actually, it's okay. It reminds me of stuff like The Invitation. I don't know if you've seen that.
I have. It's
brilliant. Fucking terrifying film that is.
I've got a good segue there.
And also Coherence. I don't know if you've seen Coherence, the time distorting movie.
I have not.
That is a great movie. That will blow your head with what the fuckery that will. So it reminded me of that. It's I'm glad I put the whatever it is 97 minutes in to watch it.
Yeah, The Invitation, that stars I'm trying to find the
guy I can never remember his name.
No, but a lot of people call him like who you get if you can't afford Tom Hardy.
Well, that's a bit harsh.
Logan. No, I know. It's very very reductive way of saying he's a really good actor. He's called Logan Marshall Green, and he was in some really good stuff. He was in Quarry TV show from the Banshee guys. That was really good. And recently, more relevantly, for the reason I bring him up, he is the star of a film called Upgrade, which is a Blumhouse film that I wanted to mention. It's just come out in the cinema over here, was out a little while ago in the States. His character, basically, him and his wife have a car accident. he's done some work before. He works on cars, I think, and he basically works with this guy who's like a bit of a weird nerd, and he's come up with some kind of mega chip that he reckons will like be able to restore his body functions because he's paralyzed after this crash. So all of a sudden he starts to go a bit fucking RoboCop on everyone, and it's got it's a very low budget film, but it's I think Marcus and John both recommended this to me. And it's got there's some they really make good use of what they've got. Like they'll do like bits where he'll just like basically grab some guy and like push him 90 degrees into the floor. The whole camera will like tip round
nice.
to give it like maximum impact.
The way they shot some of those fight sequences, though, it's like his body is doing all of this stuff, but it genuinely looks like his body is running on autopilot. But his head is just along for the ride.
He's like, sorry, I'm just going to crush your head now.
I just don't know how they do it, because it's like...
Is his head kind of rotated onto his body, onto somebody else's body, or does it look like he's actually doing the stunts?
No, it looks like it's him. That's the thing.
Nice.
It's just the way he's acting. It's seamless. But it genuinely looks like he has something taking control of his motor functions and actually doing it.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, it's not the Matrix, but you know, it's quite effective for what it does. It's a very simple film, and also like there's outside shots. You know, it's not all just like shot indoors in studio or whatever.
Yeah,
like there's some good like car chase sort of sequences as well. Like it's quite good what they've managed to do there.
It's a weird mix between sort of like Ex Machina, that sort of feel when it's indoors.
Yeah.
I don't want to say Blade Runner, but the cars are a little bit like that. Possibly more Demolition Man stroke Minority Report.
Right.
That sort of feel.
Yeah.
But then there are normal cars as well, so it's more about the self-drive cars, because you do notice a lot of regular cars on the road as well.
Yeah.
But you're not quite sure whether they've been souped up. So there's a weird sort of feel in the way that the police are as well. You could tell it's in the future a bit, but it doesn't go too bonkers.
Okay.
But God, it's good.
It's directed by Lee Wanell, who's like one of the other guys who did Saw. James Wan went off and did lots of other films that I could probably segue to in a minute. But yeah, Lee Wanell, meanwhile, has had slightly less eventful career, but he did a podcast about Upgrade he did it at the Empire podcast. He was on there. They did like a little special about this, and he is a funny fucker. Seriously, like that's well worth a listen. Okay. He's done some stuff with the Insidious franchise, and some other fairly low key stuff. But this is really nicely put together movie. I'd really recommend it.
Sorry, I forgot to mention. There's actually 3 people in Occupants.
Okay. Sorry.
The other guy is Robert Picardo.
Oh, cool. I know him.
He's kind of like a man on the TV who acts as a counsellor to the couple.
Yeah, so, wasn't he the Doctor in Voyager as well?
He was the Doctor in Voyager.
Yeah, he was.
It is bizarre to see him in this. Not that he shouldn't be there. He actually should.
He was also the cowboy in Inner Space.
Holy shit!
An old 80s film.
Wow. Yeah, I know Inner Space. Yeah. Bloody hell, that's cool.
I found it. It says it's subtitles.
What is?
Occupants.
Oh, it isn't.
Is it? Oh, it said. Oh, maybe it's just our subtitles. Never mind.
It's fully American.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I've just seen it. I've just found it on there.
Yeah. I mean, there's other people in there, but it's mainly just the 2 of them. So.
Cool. All right.
Any others?
Cool. There's a few. Couple of horror films. I just mentioned James Wan, who created The Conjuring. There's the spin-off, The Nun. Me and Marcus also went to see. And
it was quite fun.
It's very... this one's directed by the chap who did... oh, God damn it. It's Corin Hardy, I think is his name. Yeah, Corin Hardy, who was responsible for a movie that I quite enjoyed a little while back called The Halo, which was all about like weird sort of wood sprites kind of coming out of the wood in the house. But yeah, he's an Irish director, and basically he's really gone for like a proper Hammer horror style with this, The Nun. They shot it in Transylvania. There are more crosses in this film than I have ever seen ever. And there's lots of very old school, cheap, but kind of like, well done, you got me again, kind of jump scares. Like lots of like tracking shots where someone's looking around and the camera keeps following them. And then eventually there's someone behind them or something.
They get you because they make the shot last just a bit longer than it would normally. Right. So you know something's coming, and just when you're, because if you've watched a few horror films, you think any minute now it's going to, it's not. And then suddenly you're on that edge for that little bit longer.
Trolling you.
Then it gets you,
Yeah. There's some other things I like about this film. Yeah, there's the bits where like you can just about make something out in the darkness there, and you're just going to look a little bit closer, and fucking hell, But the thing that I found a little frustrating is that I don't know why, I just sort of expected this to be like a bit of an origin story.
Yes.
But the thing,
I'm glad you said that.
But the thing is, there is no origin story, because the thing is, the nun is nothing to do with anything. It's just a vessel for this demon Valak. And so unless we have an origin story about Valak...
But they gave us the origin story within there as a little mini tale.
Oh, yeah, I guess, you're right. Well,
because it turns
they sort
out...
of explain who he is, but they just... I don't think they show that enough. They just tell you. They don't really show you.
I thought that the whole point of this film was that we were going to get that sort of thing, and you'll get all of the evil stuff going on in the place, and eventually it would lead to the nun being the nun of terror that we all know and loathe. I thought that was the purpose of the film, and judging by the posters and everything, that's what it leads you to believe. But I couldn't help. I really enjoyed it, but I couldn't help being a tiny bit let down by that, because I thought you got one shot, a spin-off. You're not going to get another spin-off. Just really make it dark and gruesome. I found the environment scarier than the actual nun. I thought the amount of times that she lunged at the person, I thought she was slightly overused. So when it came to like the final act, it almost felt like she'd lost a lot of her power over me.
I feel like that if there was a nun like that deserved the title, it's the character played by the younger sister of the wife in The Conjuring, Taysa Farmiga.
She's actually the younger sister?
She's her younger sister, yes.
Oh, wow. I thought she did look like her a bit. I was like...
Yeah, and I thought that they had... I was expecting there to be like a grim twist, and that the nun was her. Yeah, that's what I thought was going to come. Spoilers. It wasn't.
I hadn't seen any of the posters, but if you see the official poster, it leads you to that conclusion as well, because there's kind of like, you see like a 2-part poster and it burns along, and part of it is the evil nun and part of it is her.
Well, and that might explain all the relevance and the visions in The Conjuring as well. It would link up nicely. Yeah. The one thing this film does do very well is the way that it does link up to The Conjuring in a different way, which I thought was fucking genius. Like that is some like clairvoyant shit. That is like the way they wrap that back in again.
I'd completely forgotten, brilliant. And it's like, oh wow. Yeah. I think we all literally left the cinema going, oh wow, that was really good. That bit was awesome.
That was a bit like, it was like that was their ace card they had if everything else went wrong.
That was their end of Split moment. Yeah, kind of like that for me.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's done really well though. It was number 1 in the UK box office, but it's got a bit of a caning. But I thought if you want like a real proper old throwback horror film, then
I gotta say there were a couple of bits that did throw me, and it's not like to take anything from the film, because God, it's a scary minute. It's a great horror film, but I felt like there was a weird bit in which they humanised the nun right at the end. where she's got the. I'm not going to give the plot away, but where she's got the artifact, and it's the final act in that area with the water.
Got the MacGuffin. Yeah,
and the nun seems unaware that a thing has happened, and then has to look down. And I'm thinking, but you're a non-corporeal being. You shouldn't need to rely on your eyes, because right in the early stages, we see something happen in which a character gets put somewhere, and it's so completely impossible that this thing could have happened. I'll just say grave. Yeah. Rob knows what I mean without spoiling it, but that thing, that just, when that happened, that set the level of power, and I thought, oh my god, what the hell is going to happen next in the film?
Yeah, but I didn't think it was necessarily that nun. I thought it was just like, there's lots of other weird shit going on.
Yeah, but I thought the whole place was almost like a weird temple to this demon. So that was, and all the other things were just pulled in by that. I thought that set the level, and then when that happened at the end, I kind of went, why is it looking? It's a ghost. It has no actual eyes.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry. I wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't. But that threw me for a little bit. That did throw me. That made it a little bit Scooby-Doo for me, as opposed to terrifying.
Well, I'm just going to sort of move things along, just looking at the time. A horror film that was less Scooby-Doo, in my opinion, was Hereditary. This is fucking grim. I really, it actually gave me nightmares, to be honest. And for the first time in a long time, I've actually... Yeah, so this is Toni Collette, stars as the wife and mother of 2 children. Her mother recently died, and so... Oh, it's just creeping me out thinking about it, actually. So the grandmother dies, and...
it starts from them coming back from the the funeral, isn't it? The open
just
cask.
About to go to the funeral, then they come back from the funeral. Yeah, the young daughter. Yeah, the young girl is played by Millie Shapiro. She is a very odd-looking girl.
Don't. That's not right.
She looks very odd in this film. Yeah, but there's there's something up.
Is she the kind of girl who wouldn't necessarily stick her head out of a car?
Something like that.
Okay, right. Okay.
So, have you seen it, or have you just read about it?
I'm not saying anything, mate. This is a spoiler-free episode.
I would say though, this film is full of so many subtleties. If you miss them, they go a long way to explaining the plot. And if you miss them, God, you're left there wondering what the hell was that about.
There's little words written on the walls,
and symbols on objects and stuff.
And there's this sort of overriding symbology throughout, because the mother, played by Toni Collette, she makes these sort of really lifelike models of things.
Yeah.
Like anything that she really wants to. I think that's how she makes her living.
Yeah.
And Gabriel Byrne is kind of just playing the sort of stalwart husband who's just like, this is all very sad, and
trying to get through it all.
Be really accommodating and deal with all this crazy shit that seems to be going on.
However, he does win my award for one of the most genuine reactions I've ever seen in a horror film, where he kind of goes, "What the?" He literally like loses his shit and goes, "Oh, what the fuck?"
Yeah,
and he is acting like an actual person, and it's very, very rare to see that in a film. I literally turned to Suze and went, "This guy is like he just walked on the set. This thing's actually happened to him, and he's just reacting."
Yeah, and then Anne Dowd comes along playing Anne Dowd, basically. If you've known her from Handmaid's Tale and stuff, and she seems ever so sweet and nice, and wants to help her and with her grief. Then horrible stuff happens. I tell you what, it reminded me of a bit was Kill List.
Holy shit! Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like that sort of like that bit in Kill List where
it takes off.
where the woman just goes up to the bathroom and takes the mirror off and puts the symbol on the wall, and then puts the mirror back, and you're just like, it's that kind of dark.
Nice.
It's really honestly, it's in my it's up there with A Quiet Place and Avengers for me.
It's a bit like Kill List and a bit like The Void when that starts going crazy.
Oh, okay.
But it's got that kind of what the fuck sort of quality. Like
once it starts happening, it's like, oh god.
Yeah. And then when I realised what was actually going on, it was like I had to.
Spoil. Yeah.
No.
I then was on Wikipedia, like researching, like what's that then, and why? What is the relevance of that? And
we were actually messaging each other like the following after we'd seen it.
Well, yeah, because I had to like. It was one of those films where like you immediately want to talk to someone who's seen it, and just like check you got it all right, Or
because I was
miss
saying
anything?
We were like that. After
I was saying all this stuff, and Rob was like,
that?
"Oh, I hadn't seen that."
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember you texting me. I was around John's, I think.
Sorry, Marcus.
But yeah.
No, I was saying it because I was like saying Rob because I think I spotted some things he hadn't, and so when you're kind of bouncing that off each other, it's like, "Oh yeah, of course, that was there and that was there," and
I was on Reddit like the next day, like I couldn't get it out of my head. And then I showed it to my sister the other night when we got back from the pub.
Is that still out of the cinema?
Hereditary, no. I believe it should be out on Blu-ray by now.
It's not on many of the streamers.
Or very shortly. I'm sure you'll be able to find it somewhere.
Yeah.
I'll wait for it to arrive on Netflix then.
It's well worth a watch. Ian.
Okay.
I thought it was going to be one of those weird, insufferable programs where it's just a misery fest of the family, and just when you reach the point where you're kind of thinking, I'm not sure if I want to carry on watching this, things start happening.
Yeah.
And like I said, one doesn't simply stick their head out of a car window. Sort of.
No. It's very slow and deliberate, and I knew nothing about the car window when I watched it. So
I didn't.
I was just like, what
I knew nothing.
Fuck?
I didn't even know that it actually happened. I went, did that? You have that sort of
and the aftermath of it is like, and the film gives you time to take that in, and you are there with that character going, oh God, like, and what do I do now?
And then just when you feel as though you've got enough to process, then like the film hits takeoff speed, and then it just all starts happening. And then you're left there just clinging on, going, "Oh God, please! I don't know where this is going, but it's so horrible."
Annoyingly, I had to watch this film in two halves because I promised my stepdad I would go and watch a football match with him. But it still delivered and still had the impact. I'm almost glad I was able to take a little break in the middle of it, to be honest.
I might watch it again.
I need time. I need time to go back to that. Yeah, definitely.
I watched the film on Netflix, a 2017 film called The Lodgers. Right. It's another horror film. And it's about a brother and sister, and they live in this, I think it's set in Ireland. Yeah, rural Ireland. And I've got it up on IMDb as well. And they live in this dilapidated house that belonged to their family, like I think generations and generations back. And they have these rules of the house, like they have to be in bed by midnight. All of this weird stuff starts happening. There's a trap door in the house, and you can see
don't you open that trap door?
Yeah, but you can see like dark water starts rising out of it.
I thought the same thing.
But water starts. You can see like there's like there's wet patches on the ground,
right?
But they avoid furniture. So it doesn't go to the edge of the room, and you immediately start thinking, "Oh, something's weird about that." And then you start to see that there's like water droplets coming out from the side of this trapdoor that are falling upwards. And it really does. It's quite creepy. I won't spoil it because I don't want to give too much away.
Where was that? Netflix?
But it's called The Lodgers.
Okay, that's one for
it's
the
worth
list.
a watch. It is. I don't think it's that long.
And what about the film? The Lodgers.
Oh, David Bradley from
92 minutes,
Strange.
so not too long.
Okay.
So it's just about an hour and a half or so.
Don't play your phone.
Yeah, it's creepy. It reminds me a bit like The Woman in White, sort of creepy because it's British, Irish sort of based horror, and they're outside of a village and they're outsiders and stuff like that, and it's a little bit like that sort of feel. But I always find these quite intriguing. I wish that Crimson Peak stayed a bit more like this and went less into the human horror element.
Gothic thing, yeah.
But yeah, I think it's worth a watch. Definitely worth a watch. Considering we've been rinsing horror films left, right, and centre, this is one that stayed with us.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna swing away from horror for a second.
Swing, man,
I just wanted to quickly mention a film called American Animals. I got into a screening of this. It came out in the States a little while ago, though, and this is directed by I had it on. I was thinking about.
What work has he done then?
Hey.
So,
I'll be right back. Carry on. Sorry.
This was directed by Bart Layton, and basically what happens is there is a heist involved. They want to steal some priceless art from one of the universities that one of the guys goes to, and so they attempt to steal this art, but the thing is they don't really have a clue what they're doing, and they take all their cues off of various heist movies, which if they'd all watched to the end would know never end well. Also the thing about this is that the people that actually really committed the crime actually are in it as sort of talking heads documentary style. So while the actual events are unfolding in a kind of traditional film way, it feels a lot more rooted in reality. It's shot really well, and it's made really well. There's like a section in it where they go through the heist how they imagine it will be, and then the reality is far from it.
Yeah.
It's also got quite a dark edge because Ann Dowd is in it again, playing the librarian of this place where they're trying to steal this art, and they have to subdue her. So there's kind of that all gets a bit messy. The guys are, I think most of them are out of prison now, and what was quite funny was, or cool, was that I tweeted about the film as I was asked to do. The FDA like to do a tweet because we're not press as such, we're like influencers, so they just like you to tweet about it. There was a review embargo, but they just said if you want to tweet your thoughts, please do. So I did, and one of the guys who wrote the book that the film is based on liked my tweet. But then I looked at who it was, and the guy who wrote the book is actually one of the guys that committed the crime, who is in the film.
Oh, wow.
And also played by an actor. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. So that's in cinemas right now, and I definitely recommend it. So that's American Animals. Definitely. That's probably like definitely top 10, I reckon, so far this year. Have you got any more, Marcus?
Let's see. We did upgrade. To be honest, I did sort of go back and watch a few. There was one I watched, I'll just mention briefly. Another sort of Netflix adaptation movie, Bleach.
Yeah.
Live action, Japanese. It's a weird concept. It's based on an anime based on a manga of the same name. And the idea is that there's a high school kid called Ichigo, and the name is a double pun because in Japanese it means first defense, and also strawberry, and he's got orange hair, like strawberry blonde orange hair. But he can see ghosts, and his mother is killed by, we initially don't know why, but we guess it's a ghost, and then it turns out that it leads to this whole thing where he sees a young girl, probably about his age, dressed in traditional sort of samurai, I can't remember what it's called, hakama, the oversized trousers sort of thing, and sword and stuff, and she's a soul reaper, a shinigami, and it's her job to sort of put demons to rest that were spirits and stuff. A film called Bleach, Ian.
Right, okay.
It's based on like the Japanese sort of comic and anime of the same name, and this is on Netflix, so it's like a live action adaptation. I initially started watching it and I thought, okay, it's one of those ones that looks a bit kind of like a typical J-drama sort of thing.
Yeah.
But then when it does start kicking off, there are one or two CG bits that are there are a couple of CG bits that are a bit ropey, but the choreography and the wire work and stuff for it is insane. Just like the sword fighting skills and stuff and everything, it's bonkers. And the plot of it is pretty faithful to it as well. It's just like a little sliver of the whole series, because these things go on for, I don't know, hundreds of episodes and stuff, and maybe there'll be a sequel to it. Yeah. But the first snippet of it, like the first arc of it, and it was a nice way to kind of tie off the movie, because it kind of starts and then ends, much like kind of Death Note and stuff like that, the way it is. So it's one of those sort of ones.
Self-contained.
But I would say, I think you might enjoy this one, Ian.
Okay.
I
quite
it's
enjoy
in
Death Note.
Japanese.
That's all right.
Because it's set in Japan.
Yeah.
There is no English dub.
Thank Christ. I'd rather
So
read.
it is actually in Japanese and stuff like that. And it starts off, it's a little bit, like a J-drama and stuff, with the slight overacting and everything else. But it's, I was quite impressed with how relatively faithful it was to it. Okay. And they changed some of it up, because there's like a whole sequence where this fight happens, and in the anime it happens on one of those paths that you get in Japan with like a river below, and you got the little bank and stuff that always happens in every single atypical Japanese animation setting. This fight happens there, and it's because there's not much to draw, whereas now they've put it in the middle of a city, so everything is just getting trashed and all these things are happening, and it's almost like they kind of thought, hang on, we can CG stuff and do damage and everything to real things, we haven't got to worry about drawing it, so let's move the location of things happening around and change it to daytime and all this sort of things. But I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. I think you might enjoy it, Ian, as well.
Thank you, mate.
I don't think
that was
your
Netflix
cup of tea,
as well,
Rob,
right?
because definitely it's quite new. Literally, it dropped within the last, I think, couple of days.
Big
I think I've only watched it the last few days.
Okay.
Maybe a week at most.
Okay. Yep. Got it.
Cool.
But I recommend that.
Okay.
Cool.
Rob, if you've got a spare moment and you want something just silly and comic-y and a bit cartoony and a bit dark, it goes a little bit, not quite on the level of Del Toro, but some of the monster, the way that they are, because they've got like these masks, and they're called hollows, and they're kind of almost like a weird creature, but the whole thing that distinguishes them is that they've got a pale mask on, and it's like a weird sort of death mask. And cool. I just find the look of them quite intriguing. So it's just a nice alternative. Yeah, anyway, moving on.
Cool. I watched a film called First Reformed with Ethan Hawke, written and directed by Paul Schrader, he who did Taxi Driver, wrote Taxi Driver. And it's similar kind of thing. Ethan Hawke plays a priest who's not very well, and a woman comes to him, played by Amanda Seyfried, and she's pregnant, and says that her husband, can she talk to his husband? Can he talk to her husband? Because he's a bit depressed. So he goes and talks to her husband, and her husband sort of explains that he wants his wife to have an abortion because he doesn't want to bring a child into this world when, like, we're on the verge of economic and environmental catastrophe and all this stuff. Spends a bit too much time reading the internet. So anyway,
some of those things may be happening, Robert.
Yeah, I know. And it's quite a slow, deliberate film, but it kind of becomes apparent that the church that he's involved with, they've got ties to like this big sort of company that like are not very environmentally friendly, and so eventually it takes a few turns, and I don't want to spoil it because the film's kind of, that's what happens, but he's very good. He's like keeping notes, sort of, and it's very deliberate, but it's quite a slow-paced film. The ending is bizarre, but it's definitely worth a look. I mean, I thought something had gone wrong with my phone or whatever. I watched it on my phone, to be fair, but it's definitely worth checking out. And finally, I've got one more film I'll just quickly mention, and it's called You Were Never Really Here. Mm-hmm. And this stars Joaquin Phoenix as... He seems like a guy who goes and gets stuff done for people, like a little bit on the sly. And gets people out of trouble. Yeah, he tracks down missing girls for a living, basically. And this, I mean, I mentioned Taxi Driver a minute ago. This is kind of similar sort of thing. It's directed by Lynn Ramsey, and it's very odd film the way it's put together. But yeah, there's the front cover of it's got him. He's rocking a massive beard and holding a hammer, and yeah, there's some sequences in it that are done with like CCTV, with him just going from room to room, like fucking getting shit done. Yeah, so yeah, it's a very odd film. It's only an hour and a half though, and it didn't outstay its welcome. So, but it's definitely like an indie kind of film. But I really liked it. Very little dialogue. It's almost like a silent film. James Caan is playing his boss in it.
Okay.
I'm trying to think what it reminded me of. But yeah, Taxi Driver came to mind. It's that kind of like rage, sort of, yeah, but slow, smouldering rage where this guy's just clearly like just about fucking done, you know, with this world. Yeah. Yeah, so that was really cool as well. So yeah, and that's my lot.
Sweet,
cool.
So unless anyone's got anything else,
I got nothing.
I went back and watched a couple of films. I went back to watch Hardcore Henry because that was on Netflix.
Yeah, I saw that turn up.
That film was as mad as I remember, if not more so.
Yeah,
but the final act is just insane. It just keeps amping up till it goes to 12. It looks at 11, spits at it, and then just goes to 12. And Captain America, Winter Soldier.
Oh, okay.
I still have to admit that's probably my favourite Marvel movie. I wasn't sure, so I needed to rewatch it, especially in a post-Infinity War world we live in. Winter Soldier is just a fantastic film. But anyway, that's my lot.
Thanks for listening to the Not Watching Podcast, part of the Not Listening Podcast Network, where you can also find the Not Playing Podcast, where we talk about video games, and the Not Listening Podcast, where you can hear Adam and Co talk about all kinds of nonsensical nonsense. You can email us at notwatchingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet at or follow us on Twitter at notwatchingpod. You can find the show notes for all our shows at notlistening.co.uk, and if you like what you've heard here, please do leave us a review. Anyway, that's all for now. Until next time, see ya!
Bye.
That's it's good that you mentioned that, actually, because before you went, I just wanted to ask you if you'd seen the trailer for Captain Marvel.
Not yet. I will be watching that as soon as this recording is done. I've not had a chance.
Just watch it now.
Yeah, we can watch it now. We can do this. Let's do this. This is the trailer podcast. Trailer trash podcast. Oh god.
Yeah. Have you got it going? Tell me when you've got it going. I'll press play as well.
There we go. It's coming up.
Ready?
Playing. Yep.
Okay.
Holy shitballs. Starts off at 11. I love it.
Yeah.
What a difference. Just to make sure it's set not now.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
War is a universal language.
Oh, I like the suit.
I know a renegade soldier when I see one. Never occurred to me that one might come from above.
See, I quite like it when they make them look a little bit like armour.
Bit of a fish out of water situation, maybe?
Yeah.
Space invasion. Big car chase.
Ooh.
Truth be told, I was ready to hang it up till I met you today. So you're not from around here?
It's hard to explain.
That's scary.
Fully
How have they done that?
CGI Sam Jackson.
How that's scary.
I keep having these
It's all that Ant-Man de-aging stuff they did for Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
F-16s, yes! Iron Eagle flashbacks.
There's a lot of imagery here that I remember from the very small amount of the comic I've read.
Wow.
Jude Law.
We have no idea what threats are.
That was nice, I like that. What makes her a hero and a hero fades in.
Run! She clobbered an old lady. That's gone viral.
I'm not what you think I am. Yeah.
Be still my Marvel beating heart.
I'm going to be in South by Southwest for that.
Oh, you bitch.
Yeah. No, Anthony was saying that he said, "Oh, we're going to be there that weekend. So can we please go and watch it?" I was like, they might even premiere it then.
Oh, you filth bag.
Yeah. So that's on. That's happening. But yeah, I think we've got that, and then the new Avengers, which they apparently we're going to get some more information on that really soon.
Oh wow.
I don't know what the third film is next year. We were talking about this on the way down to cinema the other day, weren't we? And we reckon it's Spider-Man.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, they said there's another Spider-Man in the works because Tom Holland jokingly called it Far From Home. But he might have been making that quip because he was last seen clinging onto a spaceship and going to a new world. So I don't know. I don't know.
I tell you what. I can find this out by going on this website called Wikipedia that has all of the films and the schedule and everything. Here we go. Where are we now? Oh no. So next year. Oh no, here we go. Captain Marvel, March 8, 2019. Untitled Avengers film, May 3rd, 2019. Spider-Man Far From Home, July 5th, 2019. So there you go. And the one after that is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, but that's in trouble at the moment.
Yeah.
So
to be announced or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.